Okay, I believe we are officially live. Waiting for my notification. We'll see. All right, it looks like we're officially live. What's going on, everyone? My name is Zach Sopak, and this is what is this Tuesday, September the 2nd, according to my calendar, the year 2025, and yeah, it's an awesome day. We've had a little bit of a heat wave here recently in my part of California. It's really not that bad. Honestly, I can't really complain too much, but it's been a little toasty. So, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to do a little bit of a live stream just to connect with you guys. I feel like I've been kind of lacking on the side of things with content and, producing it and putting it out. And so I did a video last night and posted it today, which I'm pretty happy with. Got that all done in the span of maybe 3 hours or so. That felt really good, and I wanted to do something else tonight, but I'm waiting on a couple of items to come in the mail for me to make an official couple of more videos that I have coming down the pipeline. So hence, here I am. I am live streaming and got a couple of other cool things that I'm trying to work towards as we start to shift the focus to the new year. What? The new year? I meant the end of the year. That's where my brain is. Yeah, life. Gotta love that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Let me know where you're watching from and what you're doing. I see Corey Naylor is in the chat. Corey, dude, I hope you're doing good. I see your photography every now and then, and it inspires me to like get outside and do stuff. But I got kids now, so they kind of they tire me out, so I don't always want to go outside. Down in San Diego. Also, let me know. I think the audio is working fine. Haven't I actually didn't test it. I should have tested it before I got things going. But San Diego, I know, man. I need to get down to San Diego. It's beautiful stuff down there. Loads of sunshine and coffee shops and beach and all that good stuff. But up in the Ventura area, it's still pretty nice too. I am like getting so, like my mouth is getting so dry ever since I hit start on this stream, so please forgive me. Gotta hydrate or dehydrate. Yeah, so I wanted to hop in and just do a live stream. Didn't really have any one particular thing that I was necessarily wanting to address, more so like a few different items that I just have been kind of seeing and noticing in the whole like camera creative landscape, and I just kind of wanted to share some thoughts on it. And then I don't know, it's always fun to answer people's questions if people have questions about content, creating content, tips on lighting or video, camera gear, coffee, hair, I don't know, any of the type of stuff. Relatively passionate about it, so I always love helping people out. That's been like one of my bigger things lately, is actually just wanting to just try to help others whenever they have questions. So yeah, if you have a question, let me know. But one thing in particular that I am excited about getting in the mail, I am getting the new DJI Mic 3 mic set. So that's the wireless mics from DJI. This is their third iteration of like their main mic set. They also have another version, which I have in my bag. I have already the mic minis, these guys here, which I have no idea if that's turning up all right on the camera, but I've got the mic minis, and these have been really cool to have for just any sort of wireless audio needs. It's very small, very compact. Here, the phone's over here. Excuse me. You might shake a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Sorry if it made a loud noise, but just like a size comparison, like it could easily hide behind my phone. These are awesome. I can't remember the pricing on these. I think when I bought them they were around like 165, but what are they now? What is the price? No. Okay. Apparently Amazon doesn't have them right now, so I don't know. Relative price though is like 165 bucks for some wireless audio, which is really cool. Has a nice little charging case. This little guy uses the cable to connect to your camera. They automatically connect. They have really nice built-in sound, and yeah, they have a nice little compact case that everything fits into. So with DJI announcing and releasing the mic 3s, that is kind of a mix between the mic 2s, which are a bit larger in size, somewhere in between like those and these smaller mic minis. So from what I've seen, looks really cool. I want to test them out and actually want to compare them against the mic minis, because I think that these are a really viable option for probably the majority of people. The mic 3 is going to do just a bit different type of stuff. It's got the internal recording option like the mic 2s have, still currently have. With that, you get 32-bit float audio recording, which basically means you can just record and not have to worry about any sort of, just don't have to set the levels, which is really cool. So it's got that. There's a convenience there. There's also now a new adapter a new adapter they released for the mic 3s that will allow it to just connect to a Sony camera's like interface. If you didn't know, Sony cameras, they have their hot shoe. Not all Sony cameras, but the newer ones, you have the hot shoe there. This is no normal hot shoe. It's like a multi-interface thing where if you have something like one of their branded mics, this is the ECM B1M, which is actually a fantastic shotgun mic. But basically, with their proprietary camera, proprietary microphone, you can literally just hook this up, and without a cable, this is going to send clean audio directly to your camera. So this has already been a life changer for me, just as a content creator, going all about shooting, vlogging. If you don't want to have to do one extra step of plugging in the camera, or if you're forgetful like me, this is really convenient. So the mic 3s have that ability, which was something the mic 2s had. But what I'm trying to get to is that the mic minis did not have that ability, but with this new adapter, it apparently also works for the mic minis. So you used to not be able to connect this without, having to use the included cable. It really wasn't a huge inconvenience, but to make my life a little easier, then I will certainly take you up on that offer. So yeah, I'm going to try that out, and I want to compare. It's not necessarily apples to apples, but like, what's the difference? Like, is there such a noticeable difference between these guys at, let's say, half the price or so in comparison to the brand new mic 3s, especially with that adapter? Man, it really bothers me. I need to look up real quick. Mic Mini. What's the price? What's the price? Yeah, okay, like 169. That's fair. And then the DJI mic 3. Mic 3 is basically double the price at $329, brand new. So it's double the price? Is it going to be double the price as far as audio quality goes? Probably not, in my guess, but there's going to be other features that they just don't have on these guys. So I say all that to say that I'm getting those mics in this week, I think tomorrow, and then I am getting the adapter sometime in the next week or so, just depending on when I get it shipped. And so yeah, I'll do a comparison between these guys and the other ones, the new ones, just to see if it's really worth double the amount of money. So that's one thing that's coming up. Also want to mention too, with these mic minis, what's really cool is that there is a built-in, basically like a limiter. So I mentioned on the mic 3 and the mic 2s, there's the 32-bit float audio. That just means you don't have to set any levels. This one, basically, you won't clip because it's going to do like a auto volume sort of ducking sort of thing. And so that's convenient. Basically means your audio is not going to explode and distort and get all that craziness. It's cool, not as nice as 32-bit float, but anyway, I'm making a case for why these are still good, and yeah, they're a really solid option. So got that coming up, and yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to also be doing a little test on the camera that people love to comment on and at least watch some of my videos on, which is the ZV-E1. This camera is so much fun. If you own one, you understand it. Maybe you're frustrated, I guess, by the potential of it overheating. It's not really an issue that I've dealt with too much. I don't really have, well, actually this week is a good opportunity to test my theory on the overheating because it has been so warm out, but the fact that this thing has the tendency to overheat because it doesn't really have like an internal fan or any sort of like heat sink, especially when you're recording in 4K for a long period of time, this camera definitely will overheat in the realm of like 50 minutes to about an hour. I've experienced that. This camera also does get really, really hot. So I've already made a video about this, like a real, I don't know, probably like over a year and a half ago. But basically, there's like a fan that you can put on the back of your camera. It's made by Ulanzi. I can put it in the chat or whatever, but it's a fan that you can put on the back of the camera that basically acts as a heat sink to take in some of that heat, but then it also blows it away from the camera body. They have like a new version of this fan. I had the version 1 and it was cool, but then I lost it and I have no idea where it went. So I've just been kind of dealing with the camera. Generally, I don't really have any issues with this camera overheating. It's just kind of part of it, though, if you want to do longer 4K recordings, but there are solutions like this extra little fan to put on it that will help to prevent that, or at least prolong that from happening. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun. I love this camera. It looks really great. It's expensive, but I feel like it's kind of like accurately priced for what it does. So yeah, love that. I'm gonna test that too, so that'll be another video and more content that I will be producing here in the next, hopefully next week or two. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little sip of water. Excuse me, really needed that. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that I'm working on right now. I think in general, as far as where the channel is right now, this has been like a really interesting year where I had every intention to kind of start things out really well and ended up doing things really slowly, but I'm really making a concentrated effort to finish this year strong and kind of make up the difference for everything that I kind of missed out for on the first 8 months of this year. So working towards doing more of that sort of stuff. So again, I appreciate the support and just, keep a lookout for that. What mic am I using now? I am using the Rode Video Mic Go 2. I'll see if I can maybe get it up in the frame. Well, it's right there, so you get the idea. This mic, I think it's around $100 or so, and it's really nice. The way I have it set up right now, I've got a video on this and I've done a few social posts on this, but I've got like my desk rig, whole desk rig set up, and basically it's sitting at the corner of the desk. That This is the desk where like my wife works throughout the day, and then I just kind of have my stuff positioned in the corner, so it's hopefully out of the way enough from what she's doing that whenever I'm ready to come in and do some video stuff, I can literally just, it's attached to like a small rig friction arm, so you just loosen that and then the mic can come down. And I just try to get it as close to me as possible. Right now it's probably like a bit farther than what I would like it to be, but just to get the framing and the positioning of everything, this is just kind of, yeah, how it rocks. And yeah, even though it's kind of far away, still sounds pretty good, I think. Oh, that's the mic you have. Yeah, it's a solid mic. I mean, it's like, I don't know, like $100 or like $120, something like that. I also like too, it's got like the little USB function on it, so you can plug the mic into like your laptop, and then you can use it as your microphone for like a live stream or a Zoom call or something like that. But right now I just have it plugged in directly to my camera, which is the A7 IV, which is what I typically shoot on. And then I've got my A7 IV going USB-C directly to my MacBook, and then that's my main feed. So all of it's just running over one USB-C cable, and yeah, it does the job really well, I feel like. So it's literally the exact same setup that I would use for recording any of my other videos. Now it's not like straight up raw, like unedited audio that you would hear in my videos. I've got like a custom stack of like, I say custom, but like I have a stack of effects that my buddy Riley Thornton put together, and I basically just have it saved as a preset in Final Cut, and I apply that to my footage for whenever I'm doing this desk setup, and it gets me in a really good spot. I feel like audio is one of those things that I've struggled with in the past because, I don't know, it's like you understand parts of it whenever you're doing any sort of video creation, because good video, it's like 50% good visual and then 50% good audio. You know, people can forgive, I think, poor visuals if the audio is okay, but if it's just terrible audio, it's really tough for people to stay engaged in the content. So I need help with that sort of stuff because I just don't fully understand it. And so he got a nice like custom set of like presets and EQ and compression to help me out with that. Especially too because with my voice, I have like the sibilance is what it's called, where like my S's, it's like I hate drawing attention to it because now hopefully people don't notice it, but yeah, I have like the really strong S thing whenever I speak. And so I even he put in there like a thing called a de-esser, so it helps to like reduce that. It's just a thing that like it's intrinsic in the way that I speak, and it's a thing for people. You know, not everybody's perfect, but yeah. So that's my setup. Except for this stream, I think all I have, yeah, it's just the mic, and then I think I have I've got a limiter to make sure that I don't go too crazy on the audio side, and then I actually am using a plugin right now to reduce just kind of like the overall room noise, and that's called Clear by a company, Supertone. Supertone's the company. It's a really cool plugin. It uses like AI for like denoising and stuff. I was also just noticing the baby monitor is like right here, and it's probably making a lot of noise. So luckily the kids are still sleeping, so we're all good here. How do I feel about wireless microphones in general, Mr. Aaron Kajumba? I was actually just talking about wireless mics a little moment ago. I think they're useful, pretty useful depending on like your use case. I was talking about the DJI mic minis, and then I ordered the mic 3s to do a comparison, and so I think I'm getting those maybe tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, I think that they certainly have their time and place. very useful if you want to be further away from your camera and still getting clean audio. Oh, dude, my A7 IV looks like it's about to overheat. That's crazy. All right, we'll see. If the camera dies, just know I'm gonna put a fresh battery in that thing. But this is crazy. I need that fan that I was talking about so I can put it on the back of this camera. It's like the two cameras I have are the ones that potentially have like issues. Let me try something real quick because it is warm in here. I'll get to your question, I promise. All right. Bro, this like no AC in the house thing is still crazy to me. All right. I just opened the window that's right behind the camera, and I think there's a little bit of a breeze coming through, so maybe that'll help prevent this from overheating. Who knows? It's the nature of life. You gotta love it. Anyway, getting back to the mics, I think it's really good. Yeah, it just depends on like your use case. I'm like my preference is always going to be towards a shotgun style microphone because I just like the convenience of it. Like I don't like having to always like plug something onto me and worry about a battery. I can just literally just take this mic, put it on my camera because it's the special like Sony hot shoe thing, and then I'm good to go. So I love that. But for the wireless mic setup, it's just good to have. It's really convenient. I just did a video, like a little video shoot, where I could just stick this on the person who's going to be on video, and I can just be bouncing around the room and still getting their clean audio that I could use for, you know, like a voiceover type thing. And yeah, so I really like it. It's convenient. If you're going to be doing like multiple people on a camera, you know, you can have that sort of a thing going on. It's just nice to have. Again, my preference is probably going to always be like a wired situation or something that's just less fuss about it. But there's some inconveniences there too. If you're trying to just like run around and you just want to have clean audio or like interview style stuff, you'd have to like physically get the microphone closer, which means you have to get the camera closer instead of just, you know, like we've all gotten accustomed to like this, like just holding a microphone nowadays, which is kind of weird to me because I feel like this is kind of like the new lapel. Like people used to use lapel mics a lot. I feel like I'm seeing it so much less because of these little wireless mics, and people are clipping them onto shirts, onto their hats, you know, pretty much any sort of like random object. I've got my kid's teether thing here. I could literally just put it on this banana and then I can just talk through the mic. So I don't know. It's cool. I like the convenience of it for a lot of things, but yeah, my preference is always going to be towards a shotgun mic. And by the way, my little overheating thing went away because that window opened behind the camera. So there you go. Little tricks of the trade. Dummy battery should help too. Yes, dummy battery definitely would help. I actually should get a dummy battery for my setup because I already have like my power cable set up for my light. So that way all I have to do is just bring the light over. I have my hair light just sits up there. I have like my little LED over there. So everything's mostly here. I should just also have I should put a battery there. Have you found the need for 32-bit float audio, or do you just generally set your levels well? So these guys don't have 32-bit float, but I've used the DJI Mic 2s, which have 32-bit float, and it's really great. And that's a feature that's also on the Mic 3s that I'll be getting soon. And for me, it's more of just it's like a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's just all out of like pure convenience. Especially when I've done that stuff before. I was working with other people where I just didn't know if they understood how to set things. And so we did have it hooked up to the camera wirelessly, but I also recorded to the unit itself, because it's literally just one, it's one press of a button, and then I could use it or I don't have to use it. And if I don't use it, or like there's like an extra syncing up that you would have to do, potentially with that, with like your video clip to that. But just to know that I always would have, like the option to basically have a dummy free audio recording, I think is worth it. I'm not like an audio engineer, or like I'm not going to do things perfectly with that to like, I think, fully take advantage of the 32-bit float for like audio quality, I guess. But yeah, I try to set my levels well as much as I can, but there's also just the unplanned things. Could be like radio frequency, like RF interference too, but yeah, just in case, just setting the the little unit to record. That's just, it's like I said, it's just dummy proof, and I like that because sometimes I'm a dummy. Just forgetful, I guess, is more of what I'm trying to say. It's like that meme where it's like people are what is it? It's like, oh yeah, it's like the meme of like someone's doing a recording for somebody and they're like, okay, you finish the take, you're like, yeah, that was awesome. Look down and like they hadn't hit record that entire time. It's like, actually, let's just do like one more run through just for good measure. Yeah, that's me sometimes. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, so more gear reviews, more gear stuff. There's a lot of camera things happening right now. One thing in particular I would love to do is I'd love to get the I want to get try out some new camera gear. So I'm excited to get those mic 2s because I haven't gotten anything like new in a while, and this will help kind of like scratch that itch. Is it the Tamron 2040-70? No, this is actually, good eyes though. I should have a body cap on it. Hold on. Let's be a professional. This is the Tamron 17-28. This is the version 1 of this lens, and it's really nice. It's 17-28 f2.8, and right now I'm rocking on it the Freewell. This is like the adapter for their variable ND system. So the ND filter is 82 millimeters, but this is a 82 millimeter filter thread, but this lens is a 67 millimeter filter thread. So that's just the ring that sits on the outside. This is like a nice little magnetic cover that can sit on the front of the lens while you have it attached. And then I just happen to have the ND filter right here, so that just magnetizes on there, and then you can tighten her down and then take off the cover, and now you've got the nice ND slash circular polarizer on there. So it's really nice. And then I've got another one of those too that sits on my 20 millimeter lens that's up there, so I can even like, just the convenience of magnets, you put it there and it's obviously much darker. Yeah, it's like 3 stops is the minimum, so that's pretty dark. But what's cool too is I can take that same backing and I can put it on the back and on the front, and so now I got like a little ND filter sandwich to keep that protected, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, which system? So yeah, this is the Freewell ND. It's 3 stops to 7 stops, and it's also a circular polarizer. And then there's even another, sorry, I got my bag of tricks over here. Literally just my camera bag. But then there's also filters that you can like stack on top of it from their system. So it either stacks on top of the filter, or you can even like thread it. Let me see here if I can do this. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna do this. Let me see if I can reverse thread this. No. Yes. Yes. Okay, cool. So now I've got this is like the snow mist. Yeah, the snow mist filter. So this is a quarter strength, but you can really see over my right shoulder here just how it blooms on that little light. So yeah, just softens things up nicely, and for getting that sort of like softening mist effect. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool system. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think they're making an announcement maybe on another type of magnetic system soon. Would love to get my hands on that, but we'll just kind of see what happens. ND filters are like one of those things that totally changed the way that I shoot, because it just like unlocked the cinematic mode in my mind, because then I could just shoot my normal like 24 frames per second and like keep my normal 1 over 50 or 1 over 48 shutter speed. Which, yeah, that 180-degree shutter rule is really special. Do you look for lenses with image stabilization? You know what? Sometimes I do. I don't think I don't currently own a lens with image stabilization, so I guess that tells you that. I think it's cool if you have it. Sometimes it can make like your image a little interesting with like movements. So like at my church, with our live stream team and stuff, where we have like cameras running around, we have like right now a couple of FX30s that we're using to run around. Corey would know about this. So we have those cameras running around, and then I've got the 24 to 105 f4 lens from Sony. It's like the G series lens, probably like the best all-around lens ever, and that has image stabilization mixed in with the sensor stabilization, which is really nice for getting like stable handheld shots that look pretty, I don't know if I'd say like gimbal like or tripod like, but like super super stable stuff for just like freehand holding it. But sometimes it just kind of makes like the whole frame move in a really interesting way, and it kind of like lags behind in your movements. So it's not bad. But yeah, even like the ZVE1 has like what's called dynamic active stabilization, which just kind of takes the normal active stabilization, it just like dials it up, where it crops in a little bit more on the image, but it really does some incredibly stable stuff when you're doing certain moves. So if you're holding it still, it's like super stable, like crazy stable. And if you're moving forward or if you're moving back, it's also very, very stable, almost like you have a gimbal. But if you're kind of doing some more advanced moves, or you're panning or something like that, it kind of makes the frame like a little jiggly on the edges. So yeah, it's a little weird. Oh, I see overheating on my camera again. I don't know. It has been a little while since it's been on, so I guess this is a possibility. I will have a battery at the ready though, just in case it happens to die. But again, we will hope for the best. But if it blacks out, that's why. Looks like I need to buy a dummy battery too. And yeah, so I guess image stabilization, it's good. Good for like low shutter photo work, certainly. Getting like more stability with holding your camera, that's always a good thing. But yeah, obviously I guess I just don't really, it's not like a deal breaker for me. Nice upgrade. Yeah, so we got a couple of FX30s now. We have an A7S III, which I love, but I didn't have the budget to get another one. Or I did have the budget to get another one, but I'm like, I could just get two FX30s for roughly the same price. Or maybe it was less at the time. I can't recall. But yeah, so we're chilling. We're doing very good there with all that. Yeah. So camera gear is a lot of fun. Love talking about it. Love teaching people and educating people about this type of stuff. I don't know why, it just kind of brings me joy. Oh man, it's like, let me see here. What do I think about the A1 Mark II Sunny Day? Thank you for your question. Uh, A1 Mark II. I honestly couldn't even tell you the specs on the A1 Mark II. Um, I don't have my screen set up to where I could show you what I'm looking at here. I'll have to set it up for the next time. The A1 Mark II, I gotta see it. Well, for $7,000, you get a pretty nice looking camera. Okay, I did see this camera in use when I was at the Sony condo event last year that was in Santa Barbara. And I believe this is the one that can do like the 120, like 120 frames in like photo mode, if I'm not mistaken. That is absolutely insane. I don't know who needs that. Somebody does. It's not me. Sports, wildlife, that type of stuff. I think it's very, very cool. You get 8K video at 30 frames per second, 4K 120 and 10-bit. That's obviously very good. Nothing that's too, you know, you can get that in cheaper cameras, certainly. But yeah, I mean, it is like the Mac Daddy of everything. So yeah, if you just want to go completely all out on your camera choice, then yeah. And if you have the means to do it, I guess, why not? I could argue you can get a lot for 7 grand without just, the camera body. But yeah, I think it's legit for what it is. I love seeing like the most expensive flagship cameras for whichever camera brand there is, because generally whenever those come out, it gives you a little bit of a sneak peek of like what is to come, potentially to like the lower end models. At least in the case of Sony cameras, which is obviously what I shoot a lot of. That's kind of like a good indicator. It's like, oh, this camera has, what was like the last thing that I noticed? I don't know. It was probably whenever they started doing like their different sort of like autofocus tracking modes, and you could do like a plane, you could do cars and automobiles, you can do insects or animals, humans, um, human animal hybrids. It's crazy. But like then that was something that ended up coming down to the lower tier camera systems, which is, yeah, it's just really cool. I love when brands do that, where it's not just like you don't only have to go to the highest of their the highest level or like the top tier option to get some of those really great features. Like I understand with some of the other ones, like 120 frames per second in photos is just ridiculous. Like it's crazy. Way too much for probably 99% of people, if not more than 99% of people. But yeah, it's cool. Corey is renting the Nikon Z6 Mark III this weekend. That's the one thing I love about Corey, is that he is a renter and he likes to test out his stuff before he buys it, which is, I think, a very smart move. What does this one do? Sorry, I don't know anything about Nikon, but I'm just looking it up now just to see what kind of specs to work with. And I'm sorry too if you're hearing like ridiculously loud vehicle noises. I live across the street from like the loudest, like neighbors. I mean, they can be loud at times. They're nice people. They can be loud, but the vehicles that they all drive, I don't know if you hear that. It's like everybody has like a diesel engine, and like everybody's got like the muffler modification, and it's like they're all in the same house. But I don't know. It's just like it's a stipulation, I guess, that they have to be a part of that family, is you have to have an extremely loud vehicle. Anyway, I digress. The Nikon Z6 Mark III, well, from what I can see, full frame, 6K 60 frames per second in RAW. What else was the other one? 6K 30, ProRes RAW, 4K 120, 240 frames in 1080, up to 20 frames per second in RAW, 60 frames per second in JPEG, blackout free. Yeah, I mean, it looks super legit, to be completely honest. Like, I'm not an Nikon guy. I know there's a lot of, hate. Like, it's easy to dunk on Nikon because, like, the whole it's a potato meme or something. But, like, from everything I understand, ever since I got into, like, cameras and stuff, is that Nikon was always historically very awesome in the photo department. They were a bit late to the game in the mirrorless camera, space, as was Canon, but I just like when you read all those specs and you see that the price point is $2,600. That's pretty. I mean, that's really competitive. That's compelling, for people who are looking for something of that caliber in that price point. So yeah, very cool. I think too, like when it comes to the camera brand, like debate that I'm just convinced there's just like not a bad camera brand anymore. Like I don't know if there ever truly was. Just like certain brands did things better. When I got into all of this photo video stuff, it was like at the height of like what was it, like the Panasonic had like the GH5, and that one I think had like 90 frames per second in 4K, but that was like a micro four thirds sensor, and then you'd have to do all this adapting and stuff with speed boosters and things like that to like get it closer to like a full frame. Its autofocus was not very good, but it could do a lot of really great video things. Didn't really do photos particularly well, if I recall. Let's see. I don't even know what Nikon was doing at that point. Probably just like their DSLR thing. And then Canon was like, in my mind, I think starting out was kind of like top dog because I have been and probably always will be a Peter McKinnon fanboy, and like Matty Hapoya. They were both like big into the Canon stuff, although Matty did more with like other brands. But then yeah, Canon was like still doing like 5D Mark IV, I think, might have been like one of their last like bigger DSLRs. People wanted like the 1DX Mark II, which I think Aaron, I think you have 1DX or you did at one point. Yeah, there was like that, and then Sony was like doing the cool like mirrorless thing at the time. I had like my first camera was like an A6300, and it had pretty solid autofocus, but at times it wasn't, and then the batteries were small and the cameras would overheat, and then it had the recording limits, but then you can kind of hack some of the older ones to do unlimited recording. Dude, 30-minute recording limits as a thing is just like, I can't believe that was a thing for so long. And I don't know if there's any cameras that are even exist right now with those anymore, but if there are, they need to stop it. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, so at that time there was just so many other things, but there's just like certain brands did things really well, and people complained about the Sony color science versus Canon color science, which I think at a time was legit. You can make a good argument for Canon versus Sony on that. But I think at this point, in September of 2025, I think everybody's just good. Like, I think whatever you want to shoot on is great. Fujifilm, like, those cameras are compelling. They have their own, like, sort of little bit of a niche, but they do it really well. And I think that it's just interesting to see how the different brands are competing now. And I think it's good that, at least in my mind, more companies have like kind of risen to about the same level. So competition's good. And yeah, when one brand is innovating, it's forcing other brands to step up their game because you don't want to get left behind. And I think that's good because there's like what is it, like, I don't know when it's happening. It's like in a few days or maybe in a day or two. I don't know, maybe it already happened today. But there's like some big like Canon announcement that's happening. Um, sorry, I just want to look. Canon camera announcement. What is it? Oh, they already, was it today? The C50? Okay, I have no idea what the C50 is. Anyway, like, something's happening. Like, it looks like Canon's about to try to basically outdo, like, Sony's, like, FX3 or something like that. And whereas I'm not a Canon user, I think that it's good for brands to be doing that, because then the one that I'm invested in is probably going to step up and try to match, because they don't want people leaving their system to hop to another one. So that's a lot of ways to say that's cool that you shoot Nikon, and or at least you're renting a Nikon, interested in a Nikon. I think it's legit. I think it's valid. I think it's great. Personally, I shoot Canon mostly, but Nikon is doing really well with sports cameras. That's good. Canon probably had the R5 at that. Yeah, the R5. I forgot about that one. And then that was like the big like overheating thing. I remember that about the R5. I remember when they released the R, like their first mirrorless camera. That one was interesting. Like it wasn't, I don't believe it was as good as like some of the Sony stuff, but it was like doing the build, and some of the other stuff was, it was good. And their lenses have always been like awesome. So I think, yeah, they've done it well. Dude sold my 1DX Mark II and owned an R3 and an R6 Mark II. Very nice. Owned a 1DC before the C200. That's crazy. That's cool. That's really cool. So, instance right there of somebody just kind of like sticking in a brand. I mean, I'm stuck in the Sony sort of ecosystem, or not stuck, but like I've chosen to stay in it, and yeah, and it's good. But like I said, every brand is good. Every brand is valid. Every brand it's got their place. So I think it's great. There's a question: would you use a 100 to 400 millimeter? Oh, what would you use a 100 to 400 millimeter lens for? What type of photos? Type of lens? Oh, why is it made? Basically, 100 to 400. You are looking at, you want to do pretty much. I would say nature. I would say sports would probably be the most like obvious things in my mind. 100 to 400. That's a crazy range, dude. Like events, you can kind of like, you could basically just snipe from anywhere, wherever you're at, especially if you're like a far distance from wherever your subject is that you're trying to get, an image of. Yeah, 400. So like when I hear 100 to 400, I also think in like my Sony brain, because Sony, I mean, you can do this in other brands, but like if you have a full frame camera at 100 to 400, you could also do the crop mode, which will punch in on your image as if it was like an APS-C crop sensor, and that will take it from a 100 to 400 to a 150 to a 150 to 600. Did I math that right? Yeah, I think 150 to 600, which is ridiculous. And then if you're in Sony, and maybe other brands do this, but then you could do clear image zoom on top of that, so you can extend it like another 1.5 times. So then, yeah, it like breaks my brain, like all the math on that. But all that to say is you can get a lot out of your lens. You can you can see the moon. I don't know what you can see a lot from far away. Hot take: Nikon has always been the superior photo camera till this day. I don't know if it's maybe. I don't know if it's a hot take. I've actually never used a Nikon, so I can't speak from personal experience, but yeah, from what I understand, they've always been top notch. Yeah, they are good and more affordable than Canon. Well, there you go. Yeah, and affordability is like a big deal. Um, I feel like too with Nikon, like they're kind of on that path of like competitive pricing. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe their margins are not as high, but like when they bought Red, like the company Red, like their cameras, and then they did their whole thing with like the Red Komodos, and like slashed the price by like 2 grand, and now you can apparently get a Red Komodo for 3 grand. A red camera for 3 grand is crazy. That's just absolutely insane. Jonathan J. Torres, what's up, dude? Been a minute. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, quite thirsty. Probably got like 10 more minutes before I wrap this up. There are a couple of things I need to do that, yeah, are pressing and important. More like back end type work for what I'm doing. Gonna work on trying to revamp the old website since I haven't really had an official website for a while. I just kind of had a storefront. Working to get everything sort of centralized. So, like Lightroom course, presets, digital store, they'll all be together on one website platform. So, that's something I'm working on. Also, working on trying to finish a LUT for all the people who love the color grading thing. That's something that I'm gearing towards hopefully soon. I'd love to get it done this month, but I just want to like keep testing and keep working on it. I keep finding things that I don't like, and I just wanted to get like really dialed in so that way, yeah, I would do like basically creative LUT for like Rec 709, and then I would also have a option to purchase like a log conversion LUT. Mostly it's like I just want to like get my main look that I would use for this type of stuff and pretty much any of my videos, that more or less is just like kind of like my one and done. So trying to get that together, get that released here shortly, because yeah, I just want to get it to the people. People always want to have fun LUTs and get all that goodness in their colors and in their footage. Yeah, especially for log shooters. That's been like ever since I switched to like just doing log, like S-Log 3 in particular with like 10-bit color. Excuse me. It's been like a total opening of my mind when it comes to just video creation and coloring in general. And I wouldn't say I'm much of a colorist. I know enough to like white balance and do some creative stuff here and there. But yeah, I just like to have my colors dialed in to somewhere I prefer, and then just kind of like do some creative little, salt and pepper on the top of that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just creating some more content here soon. Let's see. Jonathan, yes, brother, been well. Haven't had a chance to do much creating. Thank God we're going to church. Work is going well. Love to hear that. I think you graduated medical. I don't know if you were in medical school, something like that. Glad to hear you're working on your website and your new LUT. Well, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, need that. Yeah, it's just one thing I've been like kind of prolonging for a bit too long, and yeah, I want to try to get that out there. Get it out there for the biz. Yeah, I think it's been a kind of was starting on this path a little earlier in the stream, but Sim's kind of getting to the end. Probably a good little transition. But yeah, I think for this year, when I was going into 2025, as far as like my game plan, my intentions on what I wanted to create, how I wanted to do it, the consistency, the discipline of everything. I really wanted to just really be more consistent. And I think I just psyched myself out. I think I set a really high bar for myself, that, if I was honest, was just a bit unrealistic for me personally where I'm at right now. But over the course of the year, I haven't really posted too many videos. I haven't really done any live streams or whatever. I've been a little bit more consistent with like my short form stuff, whether it's like YouTube Shorts or Instagram or TikTok. But I've tried to just make a concentrated effort when I have the time and the availability. And it just, yeah, I'm looking to just build more consistency, really, is what I'm looking for. There's the loud truck again. I have no idea if you can hear this diesel monster. But anyway, yeah, I just am trying to work on building up that discipline. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. 2 small kids. Got a full-time job, and I I just want to make sure that I'm present for those things, and like anything that I do for YouTube or the business or any of that sort of stuff, that's always going to come after those things. And so I have to I kind of battle, or like I have to resolve in my mind over and over again. It's like your priorities. Like I want to make sure my priorities are in the right place, which I feel like they are, and that's a good thing. That's actually the best thing. And I just have to trust that when I put the effort in, when I have the time, when I have the inspiration, when I feel like, I'm riding a wave and the wind is at my back, that I'm going to just try to put in the best effort I possibly can. And, just trust that it's going to do what it needs to do over the course of time in order to succeed. So, I commit my work to God, and it says in Proverbs, you do that, then He's going to establish your plans. So that's my trust, and that's my hope there. So with that, I do have plans to keep doing more content. Maybe I'll do more of these, especially if you all enjoy them. I appreciate the people who are here, sticking around, being in the chat, asking questions. Maybe we'll do more. I want to have more connection with like viewers and the community, especially going into the end of this year. Yeah, it's just something I really want. And if I'm not being consistent, if I'm not showing up consistently, then it's just easy to glaze over the stuff when I do post. And I feel like that's shown in some recent videos and views, which is okay, because even when I post videos on YouTube, a lot of times, I'd say maybe even most of the time, they don't perform particularly well right out the gate. And I've just learned that sometimes you gotta wait, play the waiting game, make sure you do all the right stuff, get your good title, your thumbnail, your SEO, and then you just trust for things to take off when they need to take off. That's like literally my top performing video on my channel did nothing for 6 months. It had maybe like 120 views over the course of 6 months, and then all of a sudden just started going. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, but I am very excited about what is to come. I'm also trying to be more okay with just not, like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't, like, I really love people like Peter McKinnon. I love people like Matty Hapoya. I love Chris Brockhurst. Like, so many of these people that, like, I look up to, I aspire to kind of, like, be like, like, who were a big inspiration in me getting into this whole content creation journey. But I think I've just resolved, like, I'm not gonna be them, and I'm not gonna do stuff to the degree that they are doing. It's also like you can't compare yourself. But like, you know, I'm not trying to be like the next filmmaker like so many people were attempting to do and some people still do, which is awesome. I'm not trying to be a filmmaker, um, you know, do the whole traveling and documenting and that type of stuff. Like, I think it's really awesome. We need people to do that. But it's like, I got 2 kids, I have a wife, and I've got a full time job that I'm fully committed to. And yeah, I'm just not, I'm probably just not going to be that type of person in my content. And that's good. I want to be true to who I am and what I'm doing. So, yeah, really long way to just say, like, I'm just trying to find more of my path and what it looks like now at this stage in life. Because when I started this channel back in 2020, had a lot of extra time on my hands, you know. Um, and this is prior to having kids. So that, you know, it just changes things. We're in a small space. We make it work, you know. I like this setup for what it is, but I have dreams of having my own place where I can just do stuff and not have to worry about the children running around or having to set everything up all the time. But, you know, it'll be in the future. It'll be coming. And, yeah, okay, Jonathan. I thought that's what it was. Yeah, I thought you got your nursing. That's what I thought. Yeah, man. And I appreciate the encouragement too. Yeah, I guess that's my thought, really. In conclusion of this stream is just, yeah, make sure whatever you're doing, that you're happy. Remind yourself why, like what your why is, why you're doing it. And yeah, then you'll be all right. So I think that's my closing thought for this stream. Thank you all for watching, for hanging around. Just over an hour. Very nice. Let me know if you want me to do more of these. As always, show some support in watching the videos, likes, thumbs up. You're already subscribed, I'm sure. Hopefully. So subscribe. And yeah, I appreciate it. But hey, till the next time, my name is Sopak, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.